Can you see me?
Yes, yes. Hey, how's it
Hi.
going?
Good. I know it's like such a different connection when you can actually see
Right?
each
It's
other.
all
I'm like, oh yeah, he can't see
right.
me.
Yes, the vibration, the connection. It's been so long.
I know. It's been like almost
Right?
20 years.
20 years. Oh my
Almost,
goodness.
yes.
20
So what
years.
have you
Matter of
been up
fact,
to?
even
So
more than that, actually.
wait, how old are we?
That's why I started thinking, like, wait a minute. This is probably at least maybe close to 25 years.
No way. When's the last time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because, we go all the way back to
I
childhood. We
know.
go
I
all the way
know.
back to childhood and re-rolling, by the way. You go all the way back to childhood. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand. This one is a very, very special one to me. This is one of my longest childhood. I know life and everything that's been kicking in, but we go back all the way
You
to
do.
what, at least middle school?
At least middle school,
At
yeah.
least middle
Yep.
school. So this is such an honor and such
Oh,
a pleasure for us to meet again
I know. It's wonderful.
on this journey that we're on, not
Yes.
knowing back then that we'll be here now,
I
right?
know.
So it's great to see that how is everything like. How's everything going with you? And let me get the proper introduction because I'm so
Okay.
ready to talk to you right now.
Yes, I know. I'm so
So,
excited.
ladies and gentlemen, one of the most amazing souls, spirits you will ever
Hmm.
come across. We have to introduce my good friend, long time, lifetime friend, right? Miss Amy
Yes.
Titus with the Awakening
Thank,
Mama. I
thank you so
love
much.
the introduction you do. Like, hey, Mama. I like that. I like that. But like, how have you been? Like, you might as well put that into the journey. Like, how did we get here?
Absolutely. And first, I want to say thank you so much. I'm so glad that we reconnected, and I'm so glad
Yes,
that you invited me to come talk to you because,
of course.
yeah, like we've known each other for so long, and you're one of those people that always like pops in my mind here and there,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I wonder how Alonzo's doing, and
yeah.
so
Same,
just so glad to
same.
reconnect.
Right, same.
I feel like back when we were in school, we both had, just our own little vibes, like doing our own little things, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it does not surprise me at all that we're both where we are at this point and doing what we're doing in the energy space. So,
Yes.
but yeah. So, I mean, how far do you want me to go back?
I mean, as far as you
So,
want, this episode
let
is about
me.
you, completely about you. I got plenty of episodes where everybody can hear me. I want to get you out here.
Okay.
It wasn't until I think I came across you on TikTok, and
Mm.
I said, "Oh no, she that." I'm connecting immediately. Where you been? Where you
Oh my
been?
gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I hate to say like spiritual journey because we're all always on our spiritual journey, right? Like we are spiritual
Yes.
beings and therefore our spiritual
Yes.
journey happens in this incarnation as soon as we're born. But when I was aware of my spiritual journey and really started intentionally putting effort towards it,
Mm-hmm.
and just connecting
Mm-hmm.
was actually after I suffered a really intense tragedy. I don't know if you remember this or not, but when I
Mm-hmm.
was 18, I had, well, I had just turned 19, my daughter, and 19 months later, she passed away. And I was already in like a tenuous place at that time, just very stressed. Things weren't really going well with her father and I. And I was just like, why is this happening? And
Yeah.
fortunately, a lot of other unfortunate things happened after that. So that wasn't even like my rock bottom. But because of that grief and that extreme loss, like I just spiraled down further and further for like a couple of years. And my aunt reached out to me and was like, you know what? if you want to understand why some of these things are happening to you and what's going on, like I would love to talk to you. And she was in a different spiritual place. I grew up from in a Christian home, and she
Same.
was just at a different place. And so she introduced me to Nichiren Buddhism, and this was when I was 22. And so I started practicing Nichiren Buddhism, which is all about our inner world, all about cause and effect, karma, and all of these different things that I had never had any like idea of before, right? So that was like the beginning of my path, this deep, deep tragedy, and allowing that tragedy to take me where I needed to go, to the depths, of that hellish environment internally, and then building up from there. And I think that's a lot of people's stories, like a lot of people have to go through such hard things in order to truly find who they are, and then connect with that. So, and that was that building, it's not like it was like I woke up one day and I was like, okay, I'm better, but really starting to doing that meditation, understanding that there's more to life, or there's more to who I am than just this physical incarnation, right? And then connecting with that soul inside of me, and connecting with my highest self, which I had never really done before. I don't know about you. So what, you said you grew up in a Christian home.
Yes.
My first church that I went to was Baptist, and it was like, holy roller, like
Mm-hmm.
intense, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I was like literally, I had to be like 5 or 6 years old. And you know how they call everybody who wants to like be baptized. And I was like touched by the Holy Spirit to the point where like I was the first child in my family to get baptized, even though my siblings are older,
Yeah.
because I felt that connection. So I knew
Yeah.
what the connection with source felt like. And so then
Yes.
feeling it again years and years and years later was
Yes.
really just fundamental to
That's
connecting
me.
with that part of me.
That's
Now,
me.
okay, so tell me about your story, because I just am so
Oh
interested when it comes to
man.
your church story.
Woo!
Everybody has
So
one.
yes, right? Like grew up Christian, household, and then, I mean, younger, we in the choir, we doing the steps, and
Yep.
what I mean, we getting it in, right? Tambourine, everybody know I play tambourine all of a
Yes.
sudden. Everybody know I play tambourine, right? It's like,
Yes.
I've never played this before, but I am playing
I
this
got this.
tambourine, right? It's like, it must be spirit. So,
Yes.
did that all the way up to pretty much like the high school days. Once I got on my own, it was interesting to me. It became to the point where it's like I kind of just stopped going to church.
Sure.
Um, and I just kind of just lived out to the world, because my mindset became, it's like, wait a minute, this is a personal, or supposed to be a personal connection. I don't need to go here in order to have, to see my best
Mm-hmm.
friend type thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then, once that happened, 22, it's when I had my oldest, right? I had my oldest. And, going through, that was a real dark time, because I felt like that's when I started to feel like, is this what life is supposed to be? That's when that question started coming up around when I had my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have my oldest, which I don't regret at all, I wouldn't have even began this journey. I think that's him coming
Yes.
into my life
Mm-hmm.
changed my life, like every parent, right?
Yes.
Because you want to be the
Yes.
best for them, you want to set the bar, you want
Mm-hmm.
to be a great role model, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And then, trying to, he was more trying to like build the family, and there was so much resistance and toxic type of relationships and
Yeah.
everything like that. It just split. But to me, my thing is like, oh, I don't want to be a part of the statistics. I don't want to do this. I
Mm.
want to be, why can't we get this together? Or why can't we
Mm-hmm.
respect each other enough? Why can't we, the common goal? It just didn't work. So which hit me like a round two haymaker of tapping more closer into myself. The split
Yes.
happened, and then I was like, man, I'm not used to being on my own, because around this time I'm probably 25, 26, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
my oldest was like 3 or 4. I have 2 boys, which
Mm.
we'll get to the second one here shortly.
Yes.
So did that. And then what ended up happening is when I was on my own, I was like, okay, I'm on my own again. But at the same time, it was very hurtful because I was like, I know my other part is out here. You know, it's not just
Mm.
me and not being
Mm-hmm.
able to wake up to them, et cetera, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. So to me, nowhere near, which my condolences, everyone's condolences go out to you. I know that's a tough time, and I know where you're further down the journey of this. And this is why it's more I love this episode. It's more impactful that you're here. And then that got me to the point where trying to find myself. So
Mm-hmm.
that question resonated again, like, is this what life is supposed to be? It hit harder, and not just
Mm-hmm.
what life's supposed to be, who I'm supposed to be. That's when that question
Mm-hmm.
came in, right?
Yes.
So then,
Yes.
being brought up in the church, the best thing was, well, I'm about to hit church heavy. Like, first it was just going because of the
Yep.
family is going, but now
Mm-hmm.
I'm going because now I'm
Mm-hmm.
on the route to finding who I am and
Yeah.
trying to build that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm there, and it got all the way to the point where I was really in. Like, I even began like deacon training and everything like that. Like, I was going in, right?
Mm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
then, I, this whole time this is happening, something in me wasn't quite fully, even though I thought I
Mm.
was locked in, it wasn't quite locking, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does.
And I'm
100% it
like,
does.
is that, but it's not, I'm not, it's different. I don't know. It's like, am I supposed to be? You know, like, other
Mm-hmm.
questionings started happening, right?
Yeah.
And along this
Mm-hmm.
process is when I found or met my youngest mom, and she, because she's Nigerian, right? She opened me up to the spirituality part of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And that's when
You're
those
like,
type of
oh,
experiences starts to happening, and other gods and
yes.
goddesses and spiritual
Yes.
and tribes and culture. And I started to learn
Yeah.
about that when I was involved with her. And then we
Mm-hmm.
went to we got married. Then, we ended up in divorce. And then we had our youngest within, wedlock. It was within wedlock. We had our youngest, and then um, it happened again. The toxic came, and I was like, why do I keep
Mm.
attracting this toxic type of situations where my intent is to have a
Yeah.
beautiful, nurturing family, guiding. You know me. I'm all laughter. I'm humor. I'm good. But
Mm-hmm.
I realized I was coming across what I believe, because there's always two sides of the story. I believe I was coming across two ladies that weren't happy with themselves or trying to find them as well, and that was kind of fighting my journey. So it was two
Mm.
frictions going on trying to find
Sure.
ourselves with each other that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't
Mm-hmm.
happening. And I was like, okay, I can't do this again. So in order for me to like really tap in, which brings me to about 3 years ago, to really,
Mm-hmm.
really tap in, um, at that time I was working IT, which I have an episode on this as too. It's like episode 2. I was working IT, went to school, did like a real quick accelerated course to get some
Mm-hmm.
certifications, got an IT
Yeah.
job, and I needed a second job because I was like, I wanted to bring in more money, but I wanted freedom. I didn't want to have to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And at that time I was watching massage videos and chiropractor videos because I never had a massage at that time. My first actually
Oh,
like
yes.
professional, not even professional, but massage was when I was training for it in school, which is
Oh,
probably mind
wow.
blowing for everybody. Like, wait a minute, you went to school and then you're just now getting massage? Yeah, that's
Right.
how it
And you didn't even
happened. It's
really know
like
what it was
I
about.
didn't know, but I knew I was drawn to it.
Yeah.
It was a different pull.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
let me go in that. And then when I went into the school and I started doing a lot of the training, and we first started with draping and learning all of that stuff. As we go through that process, I started doing things that I didn't know I was conscious of doing. Right?
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
just felt natural to me, and I started doing Reiki and energy work before even knowing what it was
But
even
like knowing
called.
it,
I've never
yes.
seen it, nothing. I started
Mm-hmm.
doing Reiki holds, right?
Yeah.
That's like on the table when you give in a Reiki session.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I remember my instructor came in. She was like, "Oh, you doing Reiki, huh?" And I was like,
I'm like, ooh,
"Reiki?
am I?
No, I don't have a rake, and there's no leaves. There's no leaves, and we're inside. I don't
What's that, a dance
understand."
move?
Right? Like, what is this? No, I was thinking of seashells. This is why I was thinking of seashells
Yeah.
playing with the sound, trying to create, like, oh,
Mm.
how you had that at the
Yeah.
beat. I was thinking of that, and I was trying to
Yeah.
imitate that as far as like playing with the sound. But she was like, no, that's energy work, and
I
I was
love
like,
that. Wow.
let me look more into this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
then, as we go forward with the journey and continue that, what ends up happening? Because I feel like I just took over the episode, right? Where we go get back to you, and I'm gonna let you just have at it, right? Because I was like, look, we know your story. We want to hear about it,
I
right?
want to hear your story.
Yes, right. Which I'm doing it for you. You know what I mean? So after I started learning into it and getting into it, there's a video that I found on YouTube with a very, very similar situation. So bringing all of my, which I will send to you,
Mm,
as another licensed massage therapist that was brought up in Christianity that ended up becoming spiritually and is
mm-hmm.
very much like the same. So I started bringing all. Okay, let's try it. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hi, you're back.
This, hey,
It,
this
it
is
bees
weird.
it bees like that sometimes, honestly.
It
Like
be like that. Usually it's with the phone, but I'm on laptop. Like, you shouldn't be doing this at all. That's why the constant stream and everything. But it happens,
yeah,
and
it does.
we'll figure it
And yeah, it sure does. And Mercury retrograde is still acting up, isn't it? I think so.
Yes,
We
which
might
I
have just
was
gone
just about
direct.
to mention. Right, because put it this way, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, for at least the last week or so, my energy's been huge. I feel like wherever I go, something is messing up, and I feel like, you know what I mean?
Like, oopsie.
Something is messing up. I'd have received massages with lights flickering, phones cutting off. I mean, like, wherever I go,
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
very.
You're
I
like, it's
was
acting
like,
up.
now my computer's like it's been acting up like crazy. But like you say,
Yeah.
we're just in that period. But
Yeah.
before it acts
Mm-hmm.
up again, let's get into your story, right? Oh
So,
man.
okay, so yeah, so I kind of found my spirituality again. And Nichiren Buddhism is amazing because it works with not only your alignment, right, but the resonance of your voice. It's like the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in chanting. And I had no idea how that resonance could just like shift the energy and like, just change everything around
Mhm.
like your emotions and your thoughts and all of that and help you just connect like with what you said, your highest self. So
Yes.
long story short, I got into herbalism. And it's so interesting because I left my corporate job because it was soul sucking and left my corporate job and decided, okay, I'm going to be a bartender. And so I was bartending and doing herbalism simultaneously, which is really interesting, right? And
Very.
so my goal was to, just give myself the time and space to really figure out what made me happy, what my soul was calling me to do. And so I ended up
Mm-hmm.
starting a company, which is no longer around, but it was called Rooted Scales. And it actually was at the very beginning, the inception of like the cannabis industry and like the legalization of that. And so I had a CBD
Oh.
company where I did like the oils and the salves and the teas and all of this stuff. And that was my first real journey into seeing the healing that could take place using herbalism, using nature, like just people relinquishing their need for over the counter and prescription drugs and using, I mean, it was just such a beautiful thing to witness because mainstream people who you would never expect to be into herbal medicine
Mm-hmm.
what they were using this medicine and just it was completely changing their lives. So I did that for 4 years. And at the end of my journey with that, my husband and I decided we were going to move, right? So that was the end of 2020. And we're like, it's been a crazy, I mean, I don't need to talk to people about how crazy it was, but it was just so transformational for so many people. If you went inside, you know, there was so much chaos that year. But if you took that opportunity to kind of look inside and like see what was going on and see what you really needed in order to feel safe, because that was the big thing, right? Nobody felt safe. So how could we cultivate safety internally? My husband and I were like, let's get out of here. We've always been talking about how we want to move somewhere else. And so we literally decided we were going to move out west, and we ended up in southwest Utah. But that in and of itself was such a spiritual thing, because it was like we said, okay, this is what we want to do, source, and we surrendered it. We weren't like, okay, it's going to look like this, and this. It has to do this. It has to do this. We were just like, here's our goal. Here's our plan. Here's our dream. And we let the universe take it. And it ended up better than I could ever, either of us could ever have imagined. And so we got here, and I was like, okay, I've always wanted to be a coach. I've been coaching people with their health around herbalism for a little bit. And so I started working on, and even before that, I'm a big studier, right? So I love to read. I love to learn new methodologies and modalities. And so I had been studying human design for several years, and then I
Mm-hmm.
started learning soul realignment, which is like Akashic Records reading. Yes. And so,
That's
and
the one.
I'm those people that are, I'm one of those people where like things just come to me, like you were saying, and I'm like, yes, I love that. And I just like kind of go down the rabbit hole with it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were talking about how like things were just coming to you and you're like learning about, okay, I'm learning about soul origination. I'm learning about, you know, ETs. I'm learning about like all the Anunnaki. I'm learning about the Palladians, like all of these different things.
Yes.
And it is
Yes.
so funny, Alonzo, how like that rabbit
Mm-hmm.
hole opens and turns into like a black hole, and you're like, where am I?
You
Like,
know what I mean?
what do I believe? Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like,
Like, oh my gosh.
okay. So I was just absorbing all this information at the same time, continuing my spiritual growth, continuing healing, right? um, and healing the wounds and transmuting that pain into, okay, how can I help other people? How can I help other people connect and learn what I've learned and like get the strength that I've, not even like the strength that I've gotten, but the strength that I've connected to, right? Because it's always been there. I just need to find a way to connect to it. And so just using those kinds of tools. And so the awakening design was my first thing. And that was like teaching people about human design. And then I was 4 months after my husband and I moved here, I got pregnant. And that journey of the healing that took place after losing my daughter, um, and becoming a mother again and what that meant, and then all of the stressors that come with the pregnancy, and then having your beautiful child. I was like, okay, I want to join these two things together, because the reason that I started my spiritual journey was because I was a mother who had just experienced extreme loss, right? And so bridging that back to the motherhood of like this new journey and everything that I've learned since then, and that really birthed the Awakening Mama, and really helping moms who are struggling with stress, overwhelm, confusion, just lack of purpose and lack of connectedness, connect with their highest self, find more clarity and calm, and then really just interact with their children and their partners from a place of heart-centered connectedness and mindfulness. And so doing that has been so purposeful for me, because it's so much fun, like getting to teach a mom how to build her own spiritual practice that works for her in her own time with the things that she's interested in, and then building that into her daily life. And then also, you know, I love my spiritual practice because whenever I fall out of center, and that could be for a month, that could be for 2 months, where I'm just like slowly but surely you kind of just fall out of it. But having a step-by-step guide to where I can snatch myself back in and embody my spirituality and like, okay, and then grow from there and like get to different levels. I hate to say higher levels, but different levels, and just expand my awareness and my being. It's really, really, really powerful. And to be able to hand that to a mom and say, hey, even if we're not working together a year from now, you have everything you need to continue your journey and to use your intuition and your awareness to keep moving forward. I think it fills me with so much joy. I just love it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we understand as we awake,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the feeling and the fulfillment
Yeah.
and the connection. Like it's it's like no other. It's like you
Yeah.
can't go back, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we want to spread that, just like any other practices want to spread,
Yeah.
but to
Yeah.
really, find who it resonates with, so it's like I want everybody to feel this way. But I
Mm-hmm.
know some may, give you that side eye
Yeah. Meeting
as you
people where
try
they
to,
are. Mm-hmm.
and meet them where they are, and unraveling slowly.
Yeah.
But this is part of pretty much like what you're doing is bringing out episodes like this, bringing out, resonating with how moms are, because I just did a past, another episode about another, individual who lost their child,
Mm.
and it awakened them. They became
Yeah.
awoke, and and they found joy. It's joy through alchemy, and that episode is resonating, is hitting. And now we're here with you, and we're getting your journey. So for all the mamas out there,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
there's hope, there's option, there's a way, there's a path,
Yeah.
a source, and a way to be able to connect. And we're giving you the gems. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to go that path or not. Of course,
It's so
there's no
interesting
force.
too. And like
You know.
whether you're a mom or a dad, like having a child, you will awaken to you're a new person. Like you
Oh yeah.
birth yourself as a completely different being, and
Oh
it's like your
yeah.
trajectory just like splits. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just such a beautiful thing. And like these little babies, their souls chose us and we chose them, but they were like picked us, selected
Yes.
us, and they're like, okay, I'm going to incarnate with
Yes.
these people because of what they can teach, but also because of, I believe when the soul comes down, we have these lessons that we want to learn, and they're not always
Mm-hmm.
easy, right? So our kids choose us for the tough lessons we can teach them as well. And although we try to be the best parent we can, we have to understand the value in our imperfections and what our imperfections give to our kids in their life, if that makes sense.
That's so powerful.
It really
Ooh, I love this
is,
what you said right there. See, because first of all, I know, I was having a conversation with my sister, and I was explaining how we chose that word choice, right? How we chose our parents, and how we chose
Mm-hmm.
our life. We chose everything. Everything is a contract. Everything is agreement. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't believe that one. And it's kind of like, not trying to put you on blast, sis, but I'm just saying, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to force like, hey, this is fact. We can look this up right
Right.
now on Google. But I'm saying like, it goes to the ones that accepting what I learned through this journey of coming across, especially getting into my Akashic records and everything,
Mm-hmm.
is that everybody is not meant to be or
Mm-mm.
want to be
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
awoke.
Nope.
Everybody is not for everyone. A
No.
lot may
Yeah.
want to stay asleep,
Mm-hmm.
stay in the matrix,
Yeah.
stay where they are, and and I had to learn how to be like, well, why don't they want to feel this and make that? Why
Yeah.
don't they want to? It's so beautiful. What
And it's not
So I had
even
to
on their
learn
path
that.
this time. Like this incarnation, that's not
Yeah.
for them. Like, and that
Mm-hmm.
is tough because you just have to learn to, and
Tough.
that's, so it's so funny because I know you'll resonate with this. Like when you start talking to
Yes.
somebody and you get into the kind of things that we're getting into, you kind of like,
Yes.
you like kind of tip your toe and like, how far are you down the rabbit hole? Like how do you, like, what do you think? And then like you hear them say something, you're like, okay, here we go. Like
Right.
we're vibing, like we get it. But you'll be talking to
Yeah.
somebody else and it's just like a brick wall. You're like, okay, I'm not even gonna touch it. Not gonna go
No,
down there because you don't have,
like
you don't need to.
at all, because I mean, I start to throw hints to kind of see,
Yes.
like
Karma,
no,
source,
right there. Okay, that's
alignment.
good. Alignment, yeah. It's like my opening factor is,
Mm-hmm.
do you know my number one opening question before I is, do you know that the letter J wasn't created, founded until 1524?
I didn't know that.
Right? You know that?
I did not know
It's
that.
on Google.
Well, if it's on Google, Alonzo, then it must
That's,
be true.
it must be true. You know? It wasn't founded until 1524. And did you know that in 1611 is when King James Version
Oh, yes,
was
Lord. Mm-hmm.
created?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Those are my. I stopped there just to see
Just
how
to
they process.
see what it is, like see what the energy is.
Right?
Like, yeah,
Because it
that's so
throws. It's
funny.
like, wait a minute. J was it? Wait a minute. 1524. 1611. Yeah, just take those 2 years with everything you know. Right? And see how you feel. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And then based off how to answer that question lets me know if I can go a little further or
Sure.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm done. You're not meant. Okay, cool. No
Mm-hmm.
problem. Here, let's go get some coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like
Right.
that. So it's yes, I can resonate a lot with
Yeah.
that. And the further I
Mm-hmm.
go
Mm-hmm.
on my journey, my spiritual journey, I feel like things that no longer serve us.
Right. Yeah. Just kind of
There's no
fall
reason
away.
for it. It
Yeah.
falls away.
Mm-hmm.
So I find myself being in solitude more,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Um, like if I travel, I just go. You know what I mean? It's no, and it's nothing. It's nothing wrong with being in solitude to kind of understand me. You need
Mm-hmm.
solitude. You have to be with yourself
Yeah.
in order to understand thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Understand source. It's so many distractions that I came across to be like, this is
Mm-hmm.
a very distractive planet right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to the point where it's like people can't function unless they're with someone.
Yeah, or to end with that connection with their phone as well. And I think that's why it's so
Yes.
important to, like you said, have solitude, but use that solitude to get super, super intimate with your own energetic offering. Like, who are you? What do
That's
you
it.
feel like? Go through
That's
each,
it.
do a body scan. Like, how does your body feel? What is your body telling you? And then, like,
Yes.
what's your what's your highest self telling you, and just like learning how to
Yes.
do those things, because that's obviously clearly not something that's taught. And then
Right.
you can know and have a better understanding of how things affect your energy. Like, is this making me
Mm-hmm.
anxious? Is this making me scared? Is this making me
Mm-hmm.
angry? And then you don't have to lean into those things just because they're there, right? Like, you can find the
Right.
things that raise your vibration, rather than lower it. And we can't. I hate. How do you feel about the term spiritual sandbagging?
Oh.
I want to hear what you have to say first, and then I'll tell you how I feel. Go ahead. And we explain what it is, or you want me to explain what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Like just hearing that.
The idea of spiritual sandbagging is like that you're sticking your head in the sand and you're not being in reality. You're not, and this is around negative things that we're seeing, like on the news, or negative things that are happening in our lives. When we choose to turn
Mm-hmm.
away from those things rather than give them our
Mm-hmm.
energy and our focus and our attention, some people would call that spiritual sandbagging, because you're hiding or looking away or not being in reality around like what's actually happening. So
Mm-hmm.
how does that play in your life? And how do you feel about that term spiritual sandbagging?
Um. Wow, that's a really good
Mm-hmm.
question. Well, when I see things that's happening, I mean, I'm aware. I
Mm-hmm.
see the things that's happening in the
Mm-hmm.
world. Um, and turning my head on it is it kind of goes to a depending type of point. Most likely, I'm so much in solitude right now at this
Mm-hmm.
point in my life that I have to be me first. Before
Right.
I can like deliver a message or help, even if it's meant for me to help. Because
Sure.
understanding my mission, where I'm here for is my mission is to teach and heal
Mm-hmm.
with my energy center being divine love, unconditional love, right? And my
Mm-hmm.
mission is to teach how to be reborn in a living space,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To be reborn in a living space, reinventing yourself. And I've been, that awakening, that step where we're that new person, is to teach that and to get to the point where you can zone in and own on that moment to be the best you can be and
Yeah.
take that to the next level as
Sure.
much as possible, like to
Mm-hmm.
help that around the world. So when people come in here stressed, they leave
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the spiritual sandbagging, it just goes to that. That's a tough one because I
Yeah.
do that. I do
Yeah.
that.
Well, let me tell
I
you what
turn.
I.
I turn
Yeah.
more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I'm only engaged because at the same time, a lot of the stuff that's out here is nonsense.
Yeah. And I
A
think
lot of the stuff
that
that's happening. Yeah.
yeah, it's like this is where I come from with it. I don't believe in this term spiritual sandbagging because of the fact that your soul is here, your awareness is here, right? And so when you
Mm-hmm.
understand the fact that your goal is to be at as high a vibration as you possibly can connected with your highest self,
Mm-hmm.
you understand that it's very important to protect yourself energetically, right? And
That's where
so
it's at.
you
Mm-hmm.
know when there's a mission that's for you, no matter how dark it is, no matter how ugly it is, you know when it's there for you to dig into
Mm-hmm.
because it will help you grow, it'll help you understand it, whatever, right? It's your mission to
Right.
help that cause. But and so you will naturally lean into that, right? But not everything
Mm-hmm.
that's out here is for us and it can just really drag us down. So like I was watching a couple of
Right.
things and they were mentioning this about how the desire to, only feel good is like this bad thing. And based on, my life and my experience for me, I know that like that's the ultimate goal because when I feel good, it's because I'm in alignment, right? And so to be out
Mm-hmm.
of alignment, and not to say that you can't have these negative experiences, but it's like you come out of alignment and then you come back in and you come out and then you come back in. But for the most part, you want to stay in that center and you can tell
Yes.
through your emotions where you are in alignment,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
source, when you're connected with source is love, source is joy, source is
Exactly.
all of those ooey gooey beautiful feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when it's like with spiritual sandbagging, it's telling people that they should feel bad or that they need to take up every single cause as their own. And I liken it to the other day, I was talking to a friend. I had reached out with her, and do you know what Beauty Counter is? It's like a multi-level marketing, like a clean makeup brand, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to her about some of her products, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, if you want to join and start selling this, like you can." And this is a Caucasian lady, and she was like, "And you know what? Like you really should because." The chemicals and the toxins that are in makeup that is more pigmented for people of color, like the toxins are out of control and so much worse. And so therefore, because this affects you as a Black woman, like you should take this up as your cause. And I didn't take it me and who
Okay.
I am, I was just like, okay. But it's like
I,
that, right? Because I'm like, that's not where I'm, like that's not my mission right
right.
there. And just because I'm a
Right.
woman of color doesn't mean that it has to be. So it's like take that and
Right.
apply that to the spiritual sandbagging. Like just because you see something or even you relate to something a little bit doesn't mean that it's your specific cause and your mission. Does that make sense?
I like that. I like that. I
So you
like
can
that a
turn
lot.
away, protect your energy so you
Yeah.
can be in a good place and move
Mm-hmm.
forward on your mission, not everybody else's mission, right?
Exactly, and that's why I'm more in solitude a lot. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
protective of me now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
getting into like the awakening. Like you
Yeah.
could say this is within a year. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is within the process of. And this is why probably a lot of episodes is kind of slowed down a little bit because I'm going through
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Right. So my first, like you said, is to protect myself. Is
Mm-hmm.
to learn and connect more to my higher self, is to
Yes.
meditate more, is to eat
Yes.
better. Like I am going through the big transformation now, and I'm going at a warp speed. Like you
Yeah.
could say like 6 months. All of this
Yeah.
is like 6 months, right? So
Yeah.
it's flying and understanding the new terms. So thank you for sharing about the spiritual sandbagging, because then I'm like, dang, should I? But you're right, because it's like me on the mission of rebirth,
Mm-hmm.
or teaching how to be reborn in the living space,
Mm-hmm.
right? My thing is, I'm used to everything the way it's been working for me
Mm-hmm.
is what's for me will come to me,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I understand everything that I see or everything that comes isn't for me.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
what
Right.
is for me, I would connect to.
You'll
And like you
know.
said,
You will
I would
know.
definitely know.
Mm-hmm.
So even with that, I've been helping so much more. I feel like right now we're like, I'm putting together, you know how, like, say you put together a kickball team. Let's go old school. Kickball, right? And it's, okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can, sir.
Okay. See, I'm doing multitask right now. I've been timing. So it seems like every 20 minutes he wants to do that, which is
Huh.
kind of
That's
interesting.
interesting. That is very
Very
interesting.
interesting. So I'm like, okay. So if you see me look to the side, I'm timing on it to try to figure this out. That's all right. I got a new laptop. I'm about to bring that in. We're gonna fix that tomorrow. Yeah. How about that? But yeah, I feel like that huddle, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
everybody, come on,
Mm-hmm.
come on, come on. Because I feel like we're about to do this big push, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
big push is that we are now the ones that are awakened, the ones that's going through the journey, are now coming together for this big humanity mission,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To help others, awaken
Mm-hmm.
others, to
Yeah.
do more, like to really give the understanding of what's going on to the ones
Yeah.
that's ready to
Yes.
receive,
For the ones that are
right?
ready to receive. Yep.
For the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are ready to receive, we coming for you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so right now, for me, is so many people I feel like I'm doing this, like, come on, coming across you now, and then, the Joy Alchemy, and then, I got a couple of herbalists coming in, and they're hearing that and you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy how many connections that I'm getting at this
Yeah.
moment. And it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. But,
I
like I
have. Do
said,
you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to ask you. Do you know? I'm just listening to you talk. Do you know what your human design is?
No, not right
Okay,
now.
we'll get that
But
together.
I do
We'll do it.
know at soul level,
Mm-hmm.
I know the connections. I know the past lives. I know the Akashic records. I
Gotcha.
know, like, my past life was in Egypt. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime anybody see me with my ankh and what that means,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that's coming from.
Okay.
I do know, spirit guides. I
Mm-hmm.
know who's on my squad, and I got a big squad.
Yes.
Um, and the crazy thing, let's go on. Let's tell them. So we ain't giving you all everything, but I do know more of the soul alignment and everything. But as far
Mm-hmm.
because I was uh watching because you have a YouTube channel as well, the Awakening Mama,
Mm-hmm.
to put that plug in there real quick, and
Thank you.
listening to where you were talking about the human design. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, tell us more about that. Let's go into detail for ones also
Sure.
that's not informed about the human design. Go into that.
Yeah. So human design is I love it because I've never really thought that there's just one singular truth, that one of these different modalities was it. And that was 100% fact, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that little pieces from so many things come together to create the truth if we have if we have the ability to see the fact that there is no one real truth, right? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has their own perception and is living in their own way. So human design is a amalgam, like a grouping of a lot of different spiritual practices. There is the Hindu chakra system, the Jewish Kabbalah, astrology, the I Ching, epigenetics, quantum physics. So it brings all of these things together to create a map, basically, of your energetic offering based on a 9-centered system. So the Hindu chakra system is 7. This one adds 2 additional energy centers, and it basically is all about how your aura is comprised and how your aura interacts with other people's auras, and how I can absorb energy from you. You can absorb and amplify energy from me, or I have my own individual energy in different centers. And so how we're all kind of moving as this organism together, or with the people that you're around, and how that creates a different energy, right? Like, you know how when you're with certain people, there's a totally different energy than like when you're with a different group of people. And that's because of how our auras are interacting. And this also shows us how we respond in different situations and different circumstances in our lives. Like, if we have a mind or a head that is open and we're pulling information from all the people around us, or if we have a more closed circuited way of thinking, and if our energy and our mind is just kind of there spinning rather than like being influenced by the people that we're around, or if we're emotionally open and we're more emotionally influenceable by other people. So for example, I'm open emotionally, and so when I'm around people, I can really feel their energy, and like I even absorb it and can even become their energy. And that's indicative of that center being open. It's a very, very deep and complex system, but it really just gives us more and more and more information about ourselves and who we are and how we're experiencing this incarnation. And it's more on the physical level, like very 3D, very human experience, whereas like the Akashic Records is more 4D, 5D, and our spiritual body, right?
Yes.
So that's just a little bit about it. I absolutely love it. It's a really good beginning place to learn about energy, if that makes sense.
Yes, I love that. I love you sharing that with us. Yes, yes. So, like, how do you? That explains what it
Mm-hmm.
is and the process. But how do you? Because I would imagine. Well, let me start this way. Is that part of like the empaths? You know, the ones that because when somebody tells me something, for some reason I feel it in my knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every
Mm-hmm.
time it's like, I was in a car accident. I'd be like, oh, really? It
Yeah. And
immediately hits me. And
mm-hmm.
I was like, because so if things like height or, I'm not scared of heights, but I'm saying like if I see height, I get into this like I'm high, not high, but at that height.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
There's a lot of things happening right now. I'm at that height, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have like this awareness is like
Sure.
in the sky, or it's just I feel a lot. So
Yeah.
hearing open emotionally and open
Mm-hmm.
in certain areas, and adding the two additional chakra or energy centers.
Mm-hmm.
Chakras is energy center.
Yeah.
You have
Yep.
your purpose, and you have more of the ground, and you
Mm-hmm.
really, well, they say it's a lot more, like 144
Yeah.
energy center or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's massive. But how would someone go about learning theirs? Is that something
Yeah.
you can help them with as
Yes.
well along?
Mm-hmm.
Cool,
Absolutely.
cool.
So
Plug.
yes, thank you. So yeah, and what you do, and the system is, so just like astrology, right? It's dependent on your birth date, time, location, and it's based on the neutrinos, which neutrinos are particles, energetic particles that are coming off of everything. It's coming off of everything, right? And so the neutrinos that are coming off of the celestial bodies influence what our human design is. So at the exact time and location of your birth, depending on what's coming off of those bodies, that creates your human design. And then of course, obviously that's dependent on like the month of the month of the year and all those different things. But you
Yes.
can easily, I have a free one you can get your free human design chart on my website. You can get it on Google, like whatever. And then you'll get all this information and you're going to be like, well, what the heck does all this even mean? And that's when you contact someone like me and we could go through it
Go
basically.
straight. Oh yes. Make sure y'all
Mm-hmm.
get in contact. Make sure y'all get in contact. Okay, immediately. I'll have the
It's so
website
funny.
there. I'll have it in the descriptions. And you help with also like do you help with the Akashic records and
Oh
and
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm. Now,
plug.
when you said I'm divine love, is that your divine gift? Is that what you're
Yes,
referring to?
that's my
Yes.
energy center, like my
Mm-hmm.
core, my
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that's everything comes out of it.
Yes. Yes. It
So
like
that's
that's
my
the.
number one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. What's your second one? Do you know?
I don't know my second one yet.
Okay.
But
Not
I do
everybody
know
has
my first
two.
one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
divine
that
love as well. Mm-hmm.
yeah. If I do have a second one, I don't know. But that right there,
Yeah.
everything that I'm on right now is stemming out of divine love, with the
Mm-hmm.
teaching and the healing and everything. So
Yeah.
I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
informed I had to if I have to. But
Well, so
like
it's
you
like
said,
if you think
everybody don't
about
have
it,
to, right?
well, if you think about it as percentage, like we all have divine source that connects to all of these chakras, right? And so we all
Mm-hmm.
are influenced in that way, or like, but the one that we are connected most to, that's like our divine gift. So it sounds like yours is divine love.
Yes.
And so then a lot of times it's like this would be 80 or 90% of your connection, right? And then everything else is very
Mm-hmm.
minuscule. But if one was like, 40 and one was 50, then you would have like these two that were in the forefront. Does that make sense? Because they're
Right.
like,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I can definitely see the divine love in you. Like, absolutely.
Oh,
Just in how you make people feel, you don't really have to do
yes.
anything in order to inspire that out of people, that feeling of comfort and security and love and just being seen. It's such
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful gift that you have for
Oh,
sure.
thank you. Yeah, you got that as well. You divine love too. I love humanity, but I got to protect myself from
Hmm.
humanity at the same time. But I love
So you
humanity.
can love them.
But
Yes.
yeah, it's a very interesting cha-cha dance, if you want to put it there. Sometimes I'm stepping closer, sometimes I'm backing up. So
Yes.
it just depends on what's happening at the time. Okay. So I
Yes.
do my best to help and give love, and when I do give divine love, like that unconditional, overwhelming, I'm all in, and
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
where I had to learn through the earlier stages before I got to this point that I need to protect, because the wrong ones will take advantage of it, and you can
Hmm.
end up putting in more work. But everything is designed for a purpose anyway. This is just the journey I had to go through. So
Yeah.
now, giving more respect to myself, giving more
Hmm.
protection to myself, being more
Hmm.
protective of myself.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
learned to be in solitude and to move how I move,
Yeah.
from everyone, well, except for my boys. My two boys is
Yes.
within that too, of course. That will
Yes.
never, it will never exclude them. Okay, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
But everybody else, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is like, you will know if you're close to me, you know if you're far distant from me,
Yeah.
because it's to the point now where there's, you either far or you're close.
Yeah. And it's
It's
like
just that.
giving yourself
Hmm.
permission, because a lot of the times we're told that we don't have the permission to have those boundaries, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of us grew up in that way. Like there were no boundaries. Like what are you talking about? And so
Right, right.
having those emotional boundaries to say like, hey, like I'm going to keep you at whatever distance is comfortable for me. And then also
Hmm.
building that awareness in yourself so that you can almost immediately tell if someone is right for you or not, and then say, I blessed you with love, but I'm not going to go there with you or go down that journey with you, or I'm not going
Yes.
to keep you where is best for me. And a lot of times growing up in a more traditional way, you were told that that's being selfish or that's being whatever or being evasive or being cold, and there's no coldness to it. It's just about knowing what's best for you and trusting yourself and honoring yourself with that information.
Yes. Yes. Oh man, this is so beautiful. I don't know.
I tell you, my face hurts because I've been smiling and laughing like so much. I'm like,
This is
this is
one, yeah.
wonderful.
This is
It's
definitely
wonderful.
wonderful. It's definitely wonderful in
It
both
is.
ways. I absolutely love this. Is like one of the most informational episodes we have to date out here, and we definitely going to have to do a part two. Definitely have to do a part
Oh,
three. We'll
yes.
take up 2 times, because right now it was 20 minutes. Now it's 10. So I'll take that as a count.
Right? It's counting down. It's like, well, you almost out of time, y'all. Almost out of
Right?
time.
I was that time. You know what I mean? So definitely, it's like, oh my gosh, because
Yes.
I want to see how is it in Utah? How has it been there? Has this been received well for you
Oh
in
my
Utah?
gosh. It's been so wild because I don't know how I'll just talk about how I grew up. I'm the
Mhm.
youngest of three. My brother and sister are amazing, like wildly successful, just like so great, and people I always looked up to. And same with my parents, like they're really great, but I have always been slightly different on like a slightly different vibe. And so getting just in my beliefs and the way I operate in the world. And so getting this space, growing up, living in Indianapolis my entire life, but getting this space to really embody who I really am, and just like without anybody else's energetic expectations or anything like that. No, nobody knows me. Nobody knows us out here, right? So it's just I get to
Right.
show up without
Yes.
that, and it's been so
Yes.
healing to my soul, and I've really just been able to
Yes.
step more and more into that.
Yes.
And it's an adventure. It's so beautiful out here, like the mountains and the trails, and like just getting out. Like we live in Cedar City, which is like 6,000 feet in elevation, so it's a completely different environment. But then 40 minutes away, you're in like low desert. So it's like it could be 40 degrees here and it could be 60 degrees or 70 degrees there. And so there's just a lot of diversity in the environment that I've never experienced. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's fun. The people are nice. They kind of stay to themselves, which again has been good for me. Because just
Mm-hmm.
like you, it's like being in my own energy, understanding, getting a better understanding of who I am, right? Without anybody
Mm-hmm.
else. And my
Yes.
husband's on a very similar journey as well. So that's been very supportive to us both. But it's great. I mean, we're like 2 hours, I think, from 5 different national parks. So it's just all about nature out here. It really, really is. And it's so nice. I love it. And
That's what
this
I need to know.
this area is very powerful energetically. Like there's a lot of vortexes. The people who were here tens of thousands of years ago, depending on what you believe, tens of thousands of years ago, the
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
that were here are still very much here, and you can feel them. And I actually, I'm connecting with them and connecting with just, it's just a very powerful, powerful place. Have you ever heard of Zion National Park? Are
I
you familiar
haven't.
with that? Look it up for
It
sure.
rings up something like, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I'm not talking about Zion Williamson, ladies and gentlemen, but but the Zion, that part do
Yeah.
resonate. I just
Look it
can't
up.
remember where or when I heard that before. And
And
it's
you are
kind of
always
like,
welcome to, you're always
I'm
welcome to
coming.
come out and visit.
That's been done.
Yes.
As soon as you
You're going to
said the
love it.
vortex, soon as you said, when I
You're
did
like,
that look, I'm like, my mind says, I'm on the way.
yes.
I am coming
Yeah.
very soon. Very.
Yeah. It's
I definitely
amazing.
let you
So,
know. He sit down and we go to the park or something. You know what I mean? And meet
yeah.
the family and everything.
Hmm.
Because that also kind of side note to that is because I was thinking like, how did your family and close ones take this journey, which you kind of dabbled in on it a lot? Like, what was the receiving end of that
Yeah.
once they were informed that you were on this journey?
They were very, most were very, very supportive.
Good.
Some were, and I'm talking about me and Brian's family. Like we'll just put them all
Okay.
together. Like most were very supportive, like very like absolutely. Because Brian and I are on that same like wavelength as well.
Wavelength.
We're just different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were just a little bit hurt because it's like, why would you want to leave your family? Which I totally understand, absolutely. But everybody's kind of come around because we've been very successful out here. And so it's like, oh, clearly this is what you were supposed to do. But like we miss our families and our friends like so much. We were actually there for the holidays, which was so nice. We took Cedar. So we live in Cedar City, and so we named our child Cedar. Um,
Oh, nice.
yes.
That's
And
awesome.
that, yeah. And so like getting to go back and everything was copacetic and wonderful. But, sometimes when you make these huge choices for yourself, people have a hard time because it breaks their reality, their conception of what is supposed to be and what life is supposed to look like. And so there was a
Mm,
little bit of that. But all of that is like, has been smoothed away, luckily. So yeah. Does
that's
that make sense?
awesome. Yeah, it makes
You know what
very
you
sense.
know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this will be the last episode I do on this laptop here.
I have a feeling we're going to get
Pretty
together
sure.
again
Oh,
sooner
we
rather
will.
than later.
Yes, we're gonna do it again because I don't want to hit it within this 1 minute. I don't want to get to the point where it's
Right.
2 minutes and it's done. So
Yeah.
we're definitely
Okay.
going to have a part two. Oh my gosh, you've been so impactful, so
Thank you.
amazing, doing
Thank
a
you for
great
inviting me.
job. Oh, you're welcome anytime. Anytime you're welcome. I definitely would love to have you with the group discussions.
Hmm.
I definitely would love to have you with part two, bringing more information in because I'm about to flip this table. So
Well, thank
we
you
don't
so
want to get to that point.
much.
Thank you so much. And
So
definitely
much
going to
love to
catch
you.
up. Oh, so much
Yes.
love to you as well. That's next stop. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming to Utah.
Come
Coming to
on through.
Cedar. I'm coming. I'm coming. And then I'm going to go live with it. And then we can really
Oh,
sit
yeah.
down. And it's like, you know what? Let's just record this right there in nature. How
That
about
sounds
that?
good. That
Do
sounds
a part two
beautiful.
there. That
That
sounds
sounds
like I
beautiful.
think that would be an amazing show, right? Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, right. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, I hope if you need any information from Miss Amy Titus with the Awakening Mama, I'm gonna have all of the information in the description. You'll probably see you're going to see the plugs in the video. Make sure you follow her on all social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I believe everything is the Awakening Mama. And she'll help you as much as you can. Reach out to her if you're resonating on your Akashic records, your human design, because I'm gonna learn mine. We're gonna go
Yes.
further, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to do that, and it's such an honor, such a pleasure in having you on,
Thank you.
blessing us with all of this and with your amazing soul. Oh, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so
We
much for
can't
having
thank you
me.
enough. Oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. So until part two, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, remember to resync back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can get notified on the new uploads to the channel. If you're watching this on my website, thezodiacexperience.com, make sure you join the email list where you can get notified on new episodes or even a chance to join the live show, me and the audience, and even get some cool gear like this jacket and shirt. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, iTunes, whatever you are, make sure you follow so you can get notified as well. And last but not least, if you're not following me on any of the social platforms, IG, Facebook, TikTok, etc., everything is at the Zodyac Experience. All the links, everything else could be found down below. Appreciate you tuning in once again. Thank you. And remember to resync back to yourself.